Hello everyone and welcome inside the Rogers Centre here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada for the second game of a 3-game interleague set between the Cincinnati Reds and the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm glad you're joining us today on the Virtual Jays Network. My name is Jackson Farough. I'm joined in the broadcast booth by Drew Frank as Hyun-Jin Ryu will make his second start of the season against Tyler Mahle. But first, Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Ryu, back here making his second start as a Blue Jay, looked phenomenal in his first appearance against the Red Sox. He got the opening day win and really set the tone for the Blue Jays as the first time through the rotation, every member of the staff looked quite impressive following his lead. You're
right about that. Now it'll be a big test for him today as the Reds have a very lethal lineup, starting with Nick Castellanos. The big off-season addition. 4 years, $64 million he got as he takes a first pitch ball from Hyun-Jin Ryu. Now, the Reds handed the Blue Jays their first loss of the season yesterday in the opener of this 3-game set. But as we take a look now at the Reds lineup, what's past Castellanos is Nick Senzel DHing, hitting number 2 today. Joey Votto hitting at 3. Then it's Eugenio Suarez, Mike Moustakas, Freddie Galvis, Phil Irvin, Aristides Aquino, who hit a big home run yesterday, and Kurt Casale at catcher.
Castellanos was a big part of that win yesterday for the Reds. Had a pair of doubles, one in his first at-bat to start the game in the leadoff spot, and then one to kind of get things going in the 8th, and he wasn't able to come around either time, but 2 big extra base hits from him.
Yeah, and that leadoff double off Trent Thornton yesterday really set the table and kind of set the tone for the rest of the game as he didn't have the best outing. Castellanos drills that one down the right field side. Alford giving chase. Anthony Alford making his first start of the season in right field, hitting number 9 for the Blue Jays today, and he makes an excellent play there.
For the Jays, a bit of a shake-up, so as the day off is granted to Teoscar Hernandez, Anthony Alford gets his first action of 2020. You saw him there make a play as he's in right field, and a few other changes around the infield. Panic is back at second base as Biggio gets the day off. Drury, first time in the field. He's DH'd all season. Today he starts at third base as Guerrero is off for the night. And as well, Reese McGuire behind the plate again after catching last night's game. He's back behind the plate once again.
Yeah, his first time catching Ryu this season as he deals now. And that one's driven out into left field. That's a base hit for Nick Senzel in his first appearance in this series. And he'll head over to second base as Gurriel fields and throws. A 1-out double for Nick Senzel, the DH today.
And Senzel DHing today, partly because he's still working to recover from a shoulder injury that he had late in the offseason. And he's managing to stay in the lineup as he's making the trip to Cincinnati with the team. He played a bit in the opening series in St. Louis, but not quite back to full health yet, so the DH role gives him an opportunity to rest up a bit and still contribute, as you see with a big double there.
And he sets the table for Joey Votto, one of the premier hitters in this lineup. Not the only one. And he's got some power. He showed it off yesterday, had a big 2-run home run that kind of punched the Reds' win ticket as that kind of sealed things off for them. And that one was off Shun Yamaguchi actually yesterday. Ryu deals now, and it's a 1-1 count. Of course, Joey Votto, Canadian from Etobicoke, was drafted right out of Richview Collegiate Institute in Etobicoke. And, of course, he's been with Cincinnati his entire career. And, he's never really made much of a big deal of coming up to Toronto, but you'd think he probably has some family in the stands today cheering him on as he fouls off the third pitch of this at-bat. 1-2 count now.
And for Ryu, after opening day where he went 6 innings, he gave up just 5 hits and 2 runs, didn't walk a single batter. Trying to recreate that.
And that high offering once again fouled off. And yeah, of course, you talk about Ryu, another big ticket addition this time for the Blue Jays as he came here on a 4-year, $80 million deal. And that one is hit past the first base line for a foul.
Farough working deep into the account here. Ryu at 11 pitches and just the third batter faced. Important for the middle of the order to see him tonight.
And the Reds, of course, have seen Ryu plenty as they, Ryu used to pitch in the National League with the Dodgers. So he should be somewhat familiar with at least some hitters in this lineup. Obviously, there's been some changes to the Reds over the past couple years. And it remains a 1-2 count out of Votto. With a runner in scoring position here, he's trying to drive home the first run of the game. And that one once again fouled off. Votto in quite the battle here with Ryu early.
8 pitches already you can see on the screen. And it's important to see everything a pitcher's got to offer early. And Votto with this deep at-bat is seeing everything Ryu's got.
Hits that one over to short. Bichette is there, makes the play. And there's 2 out now. Senzel stays at second.
Nice play there by Bichette. Easy ground ball that he fields calmly and throws over to Shaw. And Shaw, after sitting out yesterday night's game and resting, he's back at first base. He knows the Reds from his time in the NL Central, and so a lot of these pitchers will be very familiar for him, and he's got some insight that a lot of these Blue Jays hitters will not have.
Eugenio Suarez at the plate now. He's already got 3 home runs this season, 7 RBI, and he's in a hitter's count now, 2-0.
Last night, 0 for 4 for him. Uncharacteristically quiet. One of the few bats the Jays were able to shut down.
And here's the 2-0 pitch now from Ryu. That one's fouled up and into the seats. Yeah, I mean, Suarez, he's quite the hitter now with the Reds. 49 homers last year and one of the top hitters in the National League. But we talked about it yesterday, Drew. Suarez, oddly enough, it was a pretty quiet year. Not a lot of people talked about him despite, hitting 49 freaking home runs.
Often overlooked, people are starting to pay attention because his numbers just demand attention.
And he's a full count now as Mike Moustakas is on deck. Moustakas had himself quite the day yesterday. He had a home run as well in the same inning as Votto did. Here's the full count now. And that one's fouled up right back. Reese McGuire catching for the second day in a row will get underneath it and make the play. And get the third out of the inning. So Ryu gets through after allowing a double. But we'll head to the bottom of the first now here in Toronto. And welcome back. And now we take a look at the Red starter for today's game, Tyler Mahle.
Mahle here for the Reds had an interesting season last year with some ups and some downs, but he's been with the Reds in the organization for a while, a homegrown talent. Back in 2016, he threw a no-hitter in advanced A-ball, and he's shown flashes of brilliance. In 2018, he took a major league no-hit bid deep into the 7th inning before he eventually lost it. Sorry, in 2016 rather. But he just hasn't been able to hone that consistency. Over his first couple seasons, the walk rate was way up, and he's just looking to locate his pitches and execute to capitalize off of the stuff he has.
In a 5.14 ERA last season, in just over 129 innings pitched, as he deals that excellent off-speed pitch to Bichette. Is now an 0-2 count. And
that splitter is one of his key pitches. You can see it break straight down, and it'll come in at 85, 86, 87 with lots of movement.
And Bichette fouls off that 0-2 offering past the third base line. And the Jays lineup today, as you mentioned earlier, some changes as Gurriel Jr. hits second and playing left. Grichuk remaining in the 3-hole today as Bichette hits that one, and that one will go foul past the first base line. Travis Shaw in the 4-hole today playing first base. Danny Jansen, his bat's in the lineup. He's DHing as that one misses outside 2-2 count. Brandon Drury playing third, and he's in the 6 hole today. And then Reese McGuire catching, hitting 7th. As Bichette takes it, that inside pitch, it just picks the corner, and a looking strikeout for Mahle early on here.
Great way to start. Retires the leadoff hitter. Bichette thinks it's outside, just freezes him, takes the fastball, and a nice first out here for Tyler Mahle.
And back to the Jays lineup. Panic playing second, hitting 8th. And Anthony Alford making his first start of the season, as we mentioned, in the number 9 hole and playing right field today. As Lourdes Gurriel Jr., a slow start to the season for him. He hits 2 today, once again playing left field. And he takes that pitch in there. It's an 0-2 count.
Montoyo gave Gurriel the night off last night, and he's back tonight up in the 2 hole, opposed to the 3 hole he batted against Boston.
And he swings and misses on that one. Mahle starts off his outing with back-to-back strikeouts.
Looking good so far. That one he gets him to swing, and the splitter there in on the hands. You can see righty on righty. It's going to stay in that same tunnel, but just drop straight down. Coming in at 85, 86, it's going to have a bit sharper break than you'd see of a changeup type of pitch, and it's been effective so far.
As Randall Grichuk steps in, takes a first pitch ball from Tyler Mahle. And Grichuk's had a pretty nice start to the year. He was hitting a bit lower in the lineup in the Boston series, which was a 4-game set in which the Blue Jays swept. And gets moved up a little bit in the lineup for this series.
Grichuk yesterday 0 for 2, but had 3 walks. He was a big reason that the Jays had so many base runners. 6 walks as a team, and he got 3 of them himself.
As he fouls off that pitch past the first base line. And yeah, he was really part of that. He had a great opportunity in the 9th as part of that rally as he drives that one down the first base line. That'll get into the right corner of the Rogers Center, and Phil Irvin goes to field it and toss it in. Grichuk thought about maybe going for 3, but he remains at second. Regardless, it's a 2-out double for Grichuk.
With the shift, Irvin had a long way to go out there in right field, and we didn't see him last night, but he's back in the lineup tonight. Irvin in right, Aquino's in center tonight with Castellanos in left. Around the infield, the 4 around the horn are the same as we saw last night, with Suarez at third, Galvis and Moustakas up the middle, and Votto at first. And tonight behind the plate, it's Kurt Casale in for Tucker Barnhart.
As Travis Shaw steps in and takes a first pitch ball low and inside. And he's hitting number 4 today and still at 99 home runs. So he has a chance and to potentially yank one here. He's got a good matchup, a lefty on a righty, and what a day that would be if he can get his 100th career home run. As he swings past that one, it's a 1-1 count now.
Mentioned briefly, he got the day off yesterday, but today he's back, and he's someone that saw Mahle in past years, in the last 2 years.
And that one's hit right into center field. And Aquino is there to make the play in center today. So Tyler Mahle strikes out the first 2, allows a double, but gets out of it regardless. It remains a scoreless game here in Toronto. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rogers Center. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank calling this one on the Virtual Jays Network. Top of the second now, so Mike Moustakas, the number 5 hitter for the Reds, steps in, and man, he's got some power, and he had a good day yesterday at the plate as well.
Hit one out of the park and almost had a second. He hit one deep foul in his first at-bat, and he hit one deep the other way foul in his last at-bat. So he had 1 home run, but with a bit of wind going in the direction or a bit more luck, maybe he could have had 2.
Yeah, and that leadoff second inning almost bomb, I guess I could say. He really showed that one off, too. Dropped his bat, took a little stroll down the first base line, and when it came back foul, it must have been an embarrassing moment for him, as it's a 1-2 count now. Ryu looking for his first strikeout of the outing. That one is delivered. Oh, that's actually going to be a ball, too. That one looked like it might have struck the zone there, but the umpire disagrees.
That one was breaking back over the plate, but just not able to break enough to touch that outer edge.
Here's the 2-2 now. And that one's outside. It's a full count now to Moustakas, working his way back into the count.
Nice approach by Moustakas here. Calm and not looking to expand the zone. Two close takes, but a great eye from him.
See if Ryu can get the leadoff hitter out here as Moustakas fouls that one back, and we've got a battle as Ryu already up to 27 pitches now early in this one.
27 pitches, and he's just recorded 3 outs, looking for an out here.
And that one's also fouled off. Down over past the third base line as Moustakas staying alive here, really trying to grind something out, and that's kind of the MO with him, isn't it?
Well, you can see another foul ball. It's been the two lefties, the two veteran lefties, Moustakas and Farough, that have really made Ryu work so far. Farough a deep at-bat last thing, and Moustakas now here.
As he drives that one to deep right field, and it'll drop foul. Alford almost got there, but not quite. Man, that's one thing that Alford sure has in the outfield is range.
Range and speed, and works together nicely. He's a great defensive outfielder over there.
As Ryu's offering just misses low and inside there, so Moustakas will take a leadoff walk here in the second inning.
And that's Ryu's first walk of the season. He went 6 without allowing one in his first appearance. He had his control going, and the fact that he's already at 30 pitches and already walked a batter could be signs of a bit more struggling here tonight.
We'll see how the rest of this inning plays out as Freddie Galvis, the switch-hitting shortstop, checks his swing there. It's a ball 1 to start his at-bat, and the last 4 games he's been able to score 3 runs for the Reds.
Well, last night he was not 0 for 4, including a strikeout. Didn't reach base once. Tonight he's going to have another chance, this time seeing a left-hander as a switch hitter. Galvis hitting from the left side last night as he faced all righties. Tonight he gets the hit from the right.
And here's the pitch. That went in there for a strike as Ryu gets back into the count. And Galvis, obviously the former Blue Jay, he was here last season and then got waived partway through the year, so he's in the second year of his 2-year deal. He initially signed with the Blue Jays, but he's in Cincinnati, of course, as he fouls that one off down the line, drops to a knee, and it's a 2-2 count.
Another deep at-bat. 5 pitches already. It'll be the 6th one here.
And Ryu drops that one right down Young Street, and that one's a strike, his first strikeout of the game.
A nice spot there. You can see Ryu hits the corner right where McGuire wants it. Doesn't even have to move his glove at all, and just completely froze Galvis there as he didn't lift the bat at all.
Yeah, that's how you know he's the ace in this rotation, when he can hit his spots just like that, and he hits another spot there. It's an 0-1 count now to Philip Irvin, playing right field and hitting 7th for the Reds today.
Almost the exact same pitch he got on the strikeout. He starts Irvin off here. Nice way to get ahead 0-1.
As Irvin pops that one up over to the first base side. Shaw gets underneath it, and he'll make the play. 2 out now.
So next will be Aquino. You mentioned a big home run last night, but interestingly enough, back in 2016 in High A, we mentioned Mahle had a no-hitter. 4 years ago, the winning run came off of Aquino's bat. A 2-run home run in that game. High A teammates back here together tonight.
Those stories are always so cool, aren't they? You know, the guys who came up through the minors together and both made it to the bigs, and they're both having some success up here. As Aquino drives that one to deep left field, and man, he has such a powerful swing. He's big, he's strong, and when he gets a hold of one, we saw it yesterday, he can smash it.
When he gets his arms extended, you see the big stroke. He can lift that ball. It was a towering shot. Moustakas hit one out and Farough hit one out that just got over the wall, but didn't have anywhere near the height that Aquino got on his. He really elevated that ball to the 200 level last night.
Just 25 years old, only in his 2nd year in the bigs, but man, he looks like such a mature power hitter already, and I'm sure we'll see him a lot, or maybe we won't as Blue Jays commentators, but yeah, fans in the NL will see lots of Aquino in the future, as he looks like he's someone who's really going to stick here. He's in a 1-2 count now, trying to keep the Reds inning alive as Ryu tries to escape. That one low and inside. A decent pitch, but Aquino takes.
Good eye there. Easy to try and extend the strike zone low with 2 strikes when you're just trying to stay alive, but he lays off.
And he swings on that low inside offering from Ryu. Another strikeout for him as he's able to get through this inning, allowing a leadoff walk, but after that he gets the next 3 hitters out. We head to the bottom of the 2nd, scoreless here at Rogers Center. 5, 6, 7 hitters up now for the Blue Jays. Danny Jansen, who was off yesterday, and he's off his feet once again today, but he is DHing in the number 5 hole, and he's had a great start to the season.
Well, he got the tough task of catching 4 consecutive days to start the season, including some weird start times where he would he caught a night game followed by an afternoon game, which is a tough task, and then he came back for the very next afternoon game. So he's been busy, but he gets back-to-back nights where he doesn't have to throw on the gear. Last night, he had the night off completely, and tonight he gets the hit, but doesn't have to catch.
It's so important for catchers, monitoring the wear and tear as he strikes out there. A leadoff K for Tyler Mahle, his third of the game now.
And you mentioned how Jansen had been hitting. Started opening day in the 9th spot. Tonight, all the way up in the 5 hole.
Yeah, Montoyo being really confident with him and kind of giving him the trust of saying, okay, you're going to be in middle of the order bat here. We trust you to deliver some power, because yesterday, the Jays really didn't have any power. They were leaving a lot of runners on, lots of opportunities, but just not able to drive those runners home.
And all the way coming up through the system, he was described as a bat-first catcher. So they were expecting him to develop, hopefully, into that kind of bat. And what he's surprised the Jays with is his defense last year, getting a few votes and ending up in 3rd place for the AL Gold Glove for catcher.
Yeah, an excellent season for him last season, and he'll look to build upon that this year. But Brandon Drury at the plate, hitting 6 today, so he's also been pushed a little higher in the lineup, and he's actually playing some defense today. He's mainly been a DH, but he gets to play third base today.
Back in the field, he plays a fair amount of third base. That would be the position he plays the most of if you've looked at his career numbers and even recent numbers. So he'll get some time there as Guerrero today gets the day off, but in the future you can probably expect Guerrero to DH some as he did last season, where Drury will take his role at third base on those days.
Here's the 2-2 count. That one's driven into center field. That'll get down for a 1-out single for Brandon Drury.
And the reason that we've mentioned 2 consecutive hitters that are bumped up in the lineup is partially as a result of scheduling. The Jays played 4 consecutive games against Boston Thursday through Sunday. The Reds had an off day on Friday, so they played opening day Thursday, didn't play Friday, then played 2 more on the weekend. So that means that the Jays, after playing last night, are already turning the rotation over, and they've got their ace going tonight against the 5 pitcher for the Reds. So a bit of a mismatch there means that the Blue Jays don't quite have to get all their big bats in the lineup, and they can afford to, just based on the matchup, maybe gamble a little bit and try and get some rest in for those big guys.
Yeah, exactly. While you have the opportunity, right? Because, again, these opportunities don't always present themselves, and especially in interleague play, right? There's no real divisional, context to this. There's no real rivalry. It's kind of just, trying to add to the win column. But you like your chances today as McGuire flies into deep left center. Aquino is there, makes the play, and there's 2 away now.
Nice play, Aquino moving to center field. Last night, he was in right field as Peyton played center. Peyton gets the day off. The lefty Ryu coming in to pitch tonight after the righty Thornton meant that the Reds lineup changed quite a bit, and almost all their lefty bats are on the bench. They've got 4 lefties there, ready in case a pinch hit situation arises where they'd need someone like Peyton or a bat like Jesse Winker. They're ready on the bench tonight.
Some power on the bench as well. And as we see Tyler Mahle deliver the 1-0 to Joe Panik, and now it's a 2-0 count, a hitter's count. Joe Panik, what a day for him yesterday. He struck out in his first at-bat in the second as he drives that one into deep right center. Aquino once again underneath it. And that'll end the inning. Joe Panik's fly out makes this a pretty quick one. And as we remain scoreless here at Toronto now through 2 innings strong. Now, welcome back to the Virtual Jays Network. It remains a 0-0 ball game here in Toronto as Hyun-Jin Ryu gets set to deal his 44th pitch, Drew, and we're only at the start of the 3rd inning here.
Well, it's been the middle of the lineup that really worked him. deep counts, lots of foul balls. And so now as he gets down to the bottom part of the order and has to prepare to face the top once again, he's going to want to, if he wants to go deep in this game, try and shorten up and pitch more in the zone and try and generate more of those swing and misses.
And for the Reds lineup, for their hitters, it's clear that that was the game plan, right? They know that this is the Blue Jays' shiny new toy, the ace in the rotation. So, probably can work him. Take when you can. Make sure you battle him. Get into that bullpen. And by the way, that bullpen went through a lot yesterday. Hasn't, all of a sudden you look at it, there's not a ton of depth right now.
Yeah, it wasn't the longest appearance from from Thornton yesterday, and Yamaguchi got lit up pretty badly. A guy that can usually give you a couple innings was only able to get a couple out before being pulled. So, yeah, a great deep start from Ryu would mean a lot for them.
Almost needed at this point is that full count pitch is swung past there. Ryu delivers another strikeout. And one thing I noticed as we were talking about the lineup and Ryu and the bullpen and things like that, he was able to battle his way back into that count and ends up getting a strikeout in the number 9 hitter.
Back-to-back strikeouts now for Ryu. He struck out Galvis looking just before that, so 3 strikeouts in the past 4 batters, and now he'll have a tough task because it's Castellanos again at the top of the order.
And he's retired his last 4 opposing hitters, so potentially maybe starting a groove, but now he's got to go through the lineup for a second time, and we start things off with the number 1 hitter for the Reds today, Nick Castellanos. And he swings past that one. It's an 0-2 count all of a sudden.
Way to work ahead of him here for Ryu. Castellanos hits pretty nicely in 2 strike counts, so don't count him out yet. Doesn't have any holes in his swing here for Ryu to exploit.
And he chokes up there and hits the inside pitch over to short. Bichette makes an excellent defensive play to retire Castellanos.
On the run, Bichette with a nice throw going across his body over the first base. He's shown some nice range so far, and aside from one small throwing error against Boston in the opening series, he's looked really nice at shortstop here, and he'll have his first chance as a full season at short this year.
And say what you want about his start to the season at the plate, but defensively he's made one throwing error. Other than that, he's been busy and he's looked really good.
He started at shortstop every game so far. We've seen Biggio now on his second night off, and a few other guys being rotated through. Guerrero gets the night off tonight. Biggio been a constant. Every game so far, he's been out there at shortstop and in the leadoff hole.
And now Nick Senzel, the designated hitter, in the 2-hole today, and he's in an 0-2 count trying to stay alive here as he grounds that one over to second base. Panic fields cleanly and makes the throw. So 3 up, 3 down for Ryu. Maybe starting to cruise here as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Remains scoreless here at Rogers Center. Oh, and here's someone we haven't seen yet this season, Anthony Alford, leading off the inning for the Blue Jays. He's hitting number 9 today, and kind of a pure athlete kind of prospect. He's had opportunity in the bigs, but hasn't really been able to capitalize yet at the major league level.
Converted from a former football player, he's got, as you mentioned, a lot of the raw athletic skills. A strong arm in the field, lots of speed. He's built like an athlete. He just hasn't been able to convert in the opportunities he's had, whether that be spring training or September call-up games. The Jays have had him around for a while, and this might be one of his last few chances to try and make some noise with the organization before he runs out of time.
Yeah, or potentially has to find a new home in terms of a new team because that outfield, it's been a bit of a topic of discussion in the offseason, but lots of moving parts in the outfield and lots of different battles for positions, and right now he's not in the top 3 in terms of the organizational depth in the outfield.
And he's competing even to stay in the top 5. He won the job out from McKinney in spring training, but it's sure close there.
Yeah, and any injury will definitely put him back in AAA as he grounds out there, but an opportunity, and we'll see if he can capitalize on it. Now, no longer just a prospect.
And AAA is getting crowded with those types of outfielders. Jonathan Davis was up here quite a bit last year in 2019 when injuries struck the outfield. We mentioned Billy McKinney. And when there's guys like Rowdy Tellez down there fighting for DH spots, unless Alford can contribute in the outfield, there's not going to be too many opportunities for him here on the team at all.
possibly a trade chip, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see and kind of see how things play out in that crazy outfield. As Bo Bichette steps in, and he's struck out looking in the first. As he swings past that one and back to an 0-2 count here. Mahle really working Bichette here. Here's the 0-2. That one's low, and Casale had to drop to his knees for that one. Wasn't able to grab it, but goes to a 1-2 count as Bichette, excellent take there.
Good take by Bichette. And a nice pitch by Mahle. He's ahead 0-2. He can waste a pitch there and try and induce a swing.
Oh, and that one was close. That would have induced a swing from a lot of hitters, but Bichette takes on that, just misses outside and gets back into the count. Here's the 2-2. That one swung on over in a deep right field. And Irvin is there to make the play. 2 away now.
Well, that ball was hit hard. It seems like Bichette has been making some nice contact, but just hasn't been rewarded quite yet. Mentioned he's been struggling at the plate. Not like he's striking out and getting fooled too much. It's just when he's hitting the ball, he's not getting those bloopers to drop in, and he's lined a few. We saw him line out twice to Devers at third base in the first series where he just squares up a ball but isn't able to find a hole.
Similar things can be said about this hitter right here, the number 2 hitter, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He's 1 for 15 to start the season, but you like his defense in the lineup and his versatility, and he's one of these young prospects that you need to get some at-bats here.
Yeah, he's going to have a chance all season long to try and prove himself after a bit of a breakout season last year.
Absolutely. And a 1-2 count now, but Gurriel 20 bombs last season, and see if he can build upon that. I'm sure he can. A 1-2 count. And that one is high. It goes to a 2-2 count now as Mahle closing in on 50 pitches here in the bottom of the third. He deals. And that one's grounded off. It's a foul ball.
Mahle's looked good here so far. The Grichuk double that wasn't even hit too hard, just against the shift, and the Drury single last inning, the only 2 base runners he's allowed.
Yeah, and for him being the 5th starter, obviously he's only made starts in his major league career. He's never come out of the bullpen, so this is kind of it for him. You know what I mean? This is kind of on his last legs in the big, so to speak. It's the pressure is on, so to speak, as Mahle throws that one, and that one's a base hit down past the third baseman Suarez. And Gurriel tries to get to second. Oh, and he's tagged out there, a little too ambitious on the base pass, and that'll end the third inning. We head to the 4th, scoreless in Toronto. Hello, everyone, and welcome back as the Canadian, Joey Votto, playing first base, as always, steps to the plate, the 2010 MVP. He's 0 for 1 on the day, but he had a monster home run yesterday, as we've talked about.
And a good battle in his first at-bat. Came away with just a ground out to short, but it was a deep at-bat, and now he knows what Ryu's got, and you can see he puts a good swing on that first pitch breaking ball, but too early on it and hooks it foul.
Yeah, man, he's got such raw power, and when he pulls one, especially in a building like this, a bit of a smaller barn, that thing just gets going. He's got such a beautiful swing. And here's the thing with Votto, though. We talk about, in 2017, he had arguably his best season, but in 2018, just 12 home runs, and then last season, just 15. Right? His OPS has dropped each year since 2017 as he grounds that one over to first, but is he possibly past his prime?
He has a lot of skills that aged pretty well, namely his eye. He's got great discipline at the plate, and he's not going to swing at too many balls outside of the zone, and has led the league in on-base percentage, as you mentioned, quite a few times. And so that's a skill that, as he ages, he'll keep on with him. Not like some of these big sluggers you see where, as they age, the power numbers fall right off the cliff, because he doesn't rely on that. If he can work counts and take his walks and play good defense at first base, he's going to provide value to a team for years to come.
And, of course, he's already given the Reds a ton of value, a career 62 wins above replacement for the 2010 MVP and Canadian. But now Eugenio Suarez, hitting number 4. He's 0 for 1 on the day in a 1-1 count. He swings past that one. It's a 1-2 count now, and Ryu starting to settle in a little bit here.
Ryu working ahead nicely here.
And Suarez fouls off that 1-2 offering. It remains a 1-2 count. Ryu deals, and that one swung on, hit over to the left side of the infield, and what a play there from Joe Panik, who comes over, playing in the shift a little bit, but comes over, makes the play, kind of where the shortstop usually is, and 2 away now.
He had a long way to go for that ball, but a great play by Panik, a guy who's provided steady defense on a lot of those Giants championship teams. You saw him a little bit with the Mets last year, playing some steady defense in the field, and now the Jays will look to use that as an asset for them. You can see he's shifted way over again now with Moustakas up. He's playing in shallow right field as the rest of the infield moves over to that right side, expecting a ball on the ground pulled towards Moustakas' strong side here.
And Moustakas now in an 0-2 count after swinging and missing on that outside pitch from Ryu. Ryu trying to get a 1-2-3 inning. Here, and he deals. That one's fouled off. Moustakas stays alive, 0-2.
He had another long at-bat in the first appearance. In his first plate appearance tonight, and one of the reasons Ryu's up at 66 pitches.
And he went there. He broke the plane as he strikes out. Ryu with a 1-2-3 inning, and he needed that now, and he seems to be getting into a bit of a groove here. The Blue Jays ace delivering as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning in Toronto. And welcome back to the Rogers Center. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank on the call today on the Virtual Jays Network. We thank you for joining us. And as Randall Grichuk steps in, the number 3 hitter, he's 1 for 1 on the day. As Mahle deals his 50th pitch of the game, that one low for ball number 1.
Mahle's retired 5 batters in a row, but the last one an unconventional 3-up, 3-down inning as he gave up a single down the line and with 2 away, but Gurriel tried to push it for a double and he was out by about 5 feet as the throw from Castellanos came into second to nail him.
And that off-speed pitch just misses low there. It's a 2-1 count to Randall Grichuk, once again playing center. And it's interesting, he played a lot more right field last year before Pilar departed, but even then, I mean, he's never played a full-time really center field as he sprays that one once again going the other way against the shift, and he's going to try to go to second. Irvin fields and throws, but Grichuk with another double in this one to lead off the 4th inning.
Man, it might be time to run those numbers again and look at his new approach in 2020. The shift for the extreme pull has hurt the Reds twice now as he's gotten extra bases on balls hit right down that first base line. Maybe it was a change he made over the offseason, or maybe it's just because of the small sample size so far here, but it might be worth reconsidering if they want to run that same shift in his next at-bat.
And he's looked fantastic both at the plate and defensively this season. Arguably the Blue Jays' best hitter, maybe not even arguable, to start this season. Again, it's very early, small sample size, I know, but Blue Jays fans, you got to hope, right? You got to hope that some of these guys work out and can stick, and perhaps Grichuk is one of those players long term. Travis Shaw now at the plate, 1-1 count, the runner in scoring position and none out. He's got an opportunity to generate some offense for the Jays. As he fouls that one off, it's a 1-2 count now. Mahle, 56 pitches. Trying to navigate through some early trouble in the 4th inning, and that one is a ball. 2-2 count now.
And for Grichuk out there at second base, yeah, just in the 6th game of the season, and he's already got 4 doubles.
A great start to the season for him, and really heads up base running as well. I think that's an important part of getting all those doubles, but also, like we just saw, he's able to use all parts of the ballpark. I mean, he sprayed his double in the 1st inning, kind of just rinse and repeat in the 4th, and it's working for him here. As Shaw flies that one out to right center field. Aquino gets in there, makes the play, and deals an absolute missile over to 3rd. 1 away now.
You see Aquino's power at the plate, but a lot of that comes from the strength he's got in his upper body. The throw on there, his arm on display there is the throw into third base. Not necessarily needed to keep Grichuk from testing his arm, but just a display of what's out there if there was a potential sac fly situation.
As Jansen pops that first pitch of the at-bat right up, and Casali makes the play 2 away now. And I think you could almost make the comparison between Aristides Aquino and Anthony Alford in terms of, two strong, young outfielders, two great athletes, but the difference is at the plate, right?
Yeah, in the field, a lot of similar characteristics, a bit more speed for Alford, but other than that, a very similar profile. But the plate makes up such a big aspect of what Aquino brings to the table, and so far in Alford's career, he hasn't even come anywhere close to being anywhere near as consistent or even showing the ceiling that Aquino's got.
And Blue Jays fans hoping that eventually Alford can maybe meet some of that potential that he has, as that one's ground over to third. Suarez makes an excellent defensive play, digging it out and throwing out Drury. So after a leadoff double, Mahle retires the next 3, and we head to the 5th inning. Galvis, Irvin, and Aquino up for the Reds. And welcome back to Toronto. We're glad you're joining us today on the Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank. And, this game, there's been some decent hits, some good defense, but the pitching from both starters has been excellent so far.
9 in a row retired from Hyun-Jin Ryu, as now he'll face 6, 7, 8 here, trying to stretch that streak a little longer. But as you say, on both sides here, the pitching's been phenomenal. Mahle, we mentioned earlier, he's the number 5 guy in the rotation, facing off against the Jays' ace, which is tough task for anybody in that position, but he's really lived up to it here and owned that challenge, as he's given up just 4 hits, 2 of them to Grichuk now, and just been phenomenal. No more than 1 hit in an inning so far.
Another low-scoring game for the Blue Jays so far this season. They've been pretty used to that. A lot of their games have, gone kind of to the mid to late stages of the game being pretty close, and then in the Boston series, they were able to break things open, and yesterday it was the Reds who kind of, opened things up, but Galvis pops out over to the third baseman Drury, and the first out is recorded as Hyun-Jin Ryu, 70 pitches, but he's kind of cruising now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and this is way more to the speed of what the Jays have seen so far this season than the Reds. The Reds, we mentioned, exploded with offense in their first series against St. Louis, putting up more than half a dozen runs in each of those games. And then here, last night, we saw them put up 4 runs in an offensive performance and included 3 long balls. A very offensively heavy team, and this 0-0 game in the 5th inning is foreign for them so far in 2020.
And Phil Irvin at the plate. He flew out to first in the 2nd inning as that low Ryu pitch is ball number 3, and it's a 3-0 count to Irvin, playing right field today. Here's Ryu's offering, and that one's hit up over to the second base side. Panic is there, and he'll make the play. Now 2 out.
Similar to Irvin's first at-bat, where he worked into a hitter's count and then ended up popping it up to the first baseman. There's almost the exact same thing here, as he does a nice job getting into a 3-0 count, gets a pitch he's ready to hit, and just gets under it and pops it straight up to Panic.
11 batters retired in a row for Ryu since allowing a leadoff Moustakis walk back in the 2nd inning. And this is what you pay for, right? That's why you give the man $20 million a year in free agency, because of outings like this. Where he consistently just, can really deliver some good performances. It'll be interesting to see what he does as this season goes on. But a good first outing for him, as we talked about. And what kind of expectations should Blue Jays fans have for Ryu this season?
Well, for the first time in a number of years, he's a legitimate ace at the top of the rotation.
As Aquino flies out to center. And that will end the inning. Another clean inning for Ryu. He seems to be in a groove now as we head to the bottom of the 5th. 7, 8, 9 hitters up for the Blue Jays. And welcome back, as we're going to see These 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Blue Jays up next. Reese McGuire catching for the second day in a row. And he flew out to center in his first plate appearance back in the second inning. Gets back to work at the plate now as Wade Miley also gets to work in the Reds bullpen.
Yesterday, McGuire 2 for 4 with a couple ground balls. Sorry, 2 for 3. 1 for 3, rather. Oh, my goodness. 1 for 3. A single in the 8th inning, followed up by a walk in the 9th. He helped when it mattered, when they were trying to mount a rally late, but was unfortunately stranded on base both times.
Yeah, and that leadoff walk he had in the 9th was huge because it started what could have been a much better rally for the Jays, because after that, he was hitting 8 yesterday. Then the 9-hitter panic hits a single. All of a sudden, you're in business, first and second, none out. But obviously, to no avail for the Jays yesterday, as that one is flown into left center field. Aquino jogs over and makes the play. The leadoff hitter is retired.
McGuire, who just flew out, and now Panic, who's coming up, were two members of what was an effective 7-8-9 combo yesterday. All three of them set the table for the top of the order, each of them receiving a walk in last night's game, but unfortunately as the lineup turned over, we've talked about how the struggles Bichette has affected the Jays offense, and all of them were left stranded as the Jays were shut out last night, stranding 14 runners through those 9 innings.
That's just something you can't do, especially against a team like the Reds, who has some power in their lineup and won't leave all those runners on base. But now Joe Panik, 29 years old. He's a first-rounder to San Francisco back in 2011. An All-Star in 2015 and a Gold Glover in 2016. He's also a World Series champ. As we've talked about yesterday, quite the resume, and he's in a 1-2 count now. That one inside and low.
And a nice, experienced bat at the bottom of the order. When you want to work late in the counts and try and get something going, set the table, and Panic, not a power guy, but a guy with great bat control, great discipline, and someone that can work deep in the counts and make the pitcher battle at the bottom of the order.
Here's the 2-2. That one swung on over into right field, and oh my goodness, Irvin misses it. And that one goes back behind him. He didn't even know where it was. As Panic rounds second, he'll head to third. Aquino runs all the way over from center to go field it. And what a play there. Joe Panic gets to third off of a major error from Phil Irvin in right field.
Lots of hustle there from Panic. I'm not sure what Irvin was doing out there. He reached down and kind of pulled up. Maybe he thought he had it snow-coned in his glove and just couldn't feel it right away. But he looks down, realizes it's not in the glove, and tries to turn around. But Aquino has to come all the way over from center to get to that ball. And Panic, not necessarily the quickest guy, but he legs it all the way over the third base. And a triple now with a runner just 90 feet away and only one out. Alford has to do something here to try and bring him in.
And a great RBI opportunity for the number 9 hitter. And he swings and misses on that first pitch off-speed offering from Mahle, but it looked like Irvin lost the ball for sure because he thought he had it, and then he turns around and he kind of stands there frozen for a second before Aquino had to run all the way over from center. But it's a really tough play for the right fielder for the Reds, who's trying to establish himself. And a 1-1 count at Alford. Another guy who's trying to establish himself in right field. He takes that one low and inside. It's a 2-1 count. Here's the offering from Mahle's 75th pitch of the game. That one's fouled off, but it'll go into the seats and evens up the count at 2.
Nice work so far from Alford. With 2 strikes now, he's just got to shorten up and get the ball in play to try and bring home Panic without the strikeout.
See what he can do here. Oh, and he swings and misses on that off-speed offering there. The second time this at-bat, Mahle was able to pull the string on him for his 4th strikeout of the game.
Worst case scenario there for Charlie Montoyo's Jays. You need to fundamentally try and do whatever you can to get Panic in there, because now we talked about how Bichette struggled at the top of the lineup, and now with 2 away, it's a whole lot harder to bring that runner in than it was with 1 out.
As Bichette flies that one out to center field, Aquino runs over, gets underneath it, and makes the play. So after Panic gets a double, advances to third with just 1 away, the Blue Jays not able to drive him in. It remains 0-0 in Toronto. And we're in the 6th inning already here on the Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank on the call today. And Drew, I mean, this has been a quick game because the pitching has been really effective. But at the same time, a missed opportunity in that last half inning for the Blue Jays.
Well, it was a bit of a gift from Phil Irvin in right field. First time he's ever played in Rogers Center, so maybe the lights were a factor in losing it there, but either way, panic given third base there with a triple. And Alford, the 9-hitter, you can't necessarily expect too much from an inexperienced hitter like him, but if he would have been able to come through and give the Jays their first run of the game, I mean, with how Ryu's been rolling, there's a chance that might be all they need tonight.
Yeah, and when you have your ace on the mound, when you have your ace on the mound, just a little bit of run support is all you need, but they couldn't give it to him there. As that pitch is inside, evens up the count at 2 to the number 9 hitter, Kurt Casale. And that one's right in the middle there. Caught Casale looking. He sure wasn't expecting that pitch. Ryu with his 5th strikeout now.
A great pitch from Ryu. That's the 2nd strikeout looking he's gotten, and both times it was against someone in the right-handed batter's box. The first one against Galvis, and both times it was a fastball on the outer half of the plate, just like that one. So it worked before for him, and now it's worked again as he spotted that fastball right on the black, right where he was trying to hit his spot, and he gets the strikeout as a result.
And now Nick Castellanos up at the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the day, leading off. This will be his 3rd time through the order for Ryu as he gets a big swing and miss there.
He was way out in front of that one, and Ryu quickly ahead 0-2. He saw him off balance with that off-speed pitch. Maybe he can go for it again if he wants. He can challenge him with the fastball, or he can go for a breaking ball. 0-2, he can go anywhere he wants.
Let's see where he goes here, and he goes low and outside. Castellanos swings and misses there. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ryu in the 6th.
Beautiful execution on that breaking ball. As we mentioned, ahead 0-2, he could kind of go wherever Reese McGuire wanted to. He calls for the breaking ball. Castellanos just trying to get a piece and stay alive, unable to, and now there's 2 away very quickly for Ryu.
And Ryu is in quite the groove at the moment. He's retired. I mean, he's been excellent. He's retired the last 3, 6, let's see, at least like 10, 11, 12 perhaps now, and back-to-back strikeouts in this one. Senzel 1 for 2 on the day.
And we might be keeping an eye on something else here, if not for the double from Senzel in the 1st. That's the only scratch the Reds have made in the hit column, just the 1 hit against Ryu so far. We mentioned early about how he's got to keep his pitch count down. You could see there 20 pitches in each of the first 2 innings, and since then it's dropped right down. It's 12 or fewer.
And he gets 3 straight strikeouts. He retires the side. Ryu absolutely dealing in his 2nd start with the Blue Jays. Let's see if they can get him any run support as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning on the Virtual Jays Network. And welcome back to Toronto. It remains a 0-0 game. Both pitchers doing really well so far, but Hyun-Jin Ryu, he's retired the last 15 in a row.
And for both pitchers here, how they handle this next half inning will be very important.
As that one is flown out to left field, Castellanos makes the play as Gurriel flies out to lead off the inning, but you know, now as we enter late stages, the bullpen becomes a factor for both teams. But also, you know, 3rd time through the lineup now. Let's see if we can maybe get some offense going.
Well, and not only 3rd time through the order, what makes it so important this next half inning, it's the number 3 hitter up for the Jays, one of their hottest bats in Randall Grichuk, and it's the 3 hitter due up for Cincy, the top of the next inning. So this bottom of the 6th, top of the 7th could be critical in deciding the outcome of this game as the big bats get a chance to do what they're paid to do.
Yeah, and if you're Grichuk here, you're salivating. You've already hit 2 doubles. You're 2 for 2 on the day. You've had a great start to the season. And a 1-0 count now, make that a 2-0 count. And Mahle, 80 pitches now, probably getting tired in his first appearance of the season. You got to do something with this opportunity, don't you think?
Well, yeah, especially because you mentioned he's seen him well so far. 2 doubles hit to the opposite field. Ahead now, 2-1 in the count. A good count to try and do some damage, and Grichuk looks locked in tonight.
Sure does. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one swung on past the third baseman Suarez into left field. Grichuk with a single, a 1-out single here in the 6th. He's 3 for 3 on the day.
Well, now the Jays have their 6th hit of the day here in the 6th inning. 1 hit in each inning, and that is why there's a 0 on the scoreboard. If you space your hits out that much, you're not going to be able to string anything together, and they're trying to do the opposite of that here and try and get some consecutive hits, or at least consecutive base runners now that Grichuk's getting things started with that single.
And with 1 out, Travis Shaw steps up. He's 0 for 2 on the day with a couple flyouts to center in the 1st and 4th inning. And that one's driven into deep right field. Is this number 100? And it sure is. Travis Shaw with a 2-run shot. His 100th career home run puts the Blue Jays in front 2-0.
And what better time? We talked about his experience with the NL Central playing in Milwaukee. It makes sense that it's going to come against the Reds here. Had the day off yesterday to rest and recover, and he's back here tonight with a bang. A huge home run vaults the Jays in front 2-0 in this late game. And as we mentioned, with how Ryu's look locked in, knocking down those Reds hitters back to back to end the last couple innings, that might be all the Jays need, as now they're in front by 2 and still poised to do some damage with the number 5 hitter Jansen coming up now.
His first home run of the season, his first home run with the Blue Jays, and what a moment for the left-hander as he drills that one into deep right. And now that'll be the end of the day for Tyler Mahle after surrendering that 2-run shot. Still a very good outing for him today in his first start of the season.
He looked really nice. We mentioned that the Jays failed to capitalize with stringing hits together, and that's as much as a failure on them as it is a success for him. As he allowed a base runner, he locked in when he was forced to pitch from the stretch, prevented those stringing of hits together, and with a few strikeouts mixed in there along the way, a very nice first appearance of 2020 for him.
And now Lucas Sims steps in for his 3rd appearance of the season, the right-hander, wearing number 39 for the Reds. He'll take on Danny Jansen, and he starts off with a ball. Jansen 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop-out in this one. Hitting number 5 today, looking to cause some more damage in this inning as the Blue Jays have scored 2 runs already.
Sims starting this out with 2 pitches out of the zone, and now Jansen knows that he has to come to him now behind 2-0.
And that's part of the thinking of a catcher at the plate, of course. Such an advantage. Here's the 2-1 pitch now. That one swung on, driven to deep left, but it's way foul there. But a nice swing from Jansen on that 2-1 offering.
Nice hack from Jansen. Now left to shorten up a little bit now with 2 strikes against him in this 2-2 count.
And that one just misses up and in. It's a full count to Jansen, who's looking to get his first hit, or first on-base appearance of the game. But he fouls that one off past the first base line. It remains a full count.
Sims is a reliever that's capable of pitching a couple innings if they need it from him here, and if he's looking good in his first one, we might see him back out here for the bottom of the 7th. Gonna live quite a bit off of his slider. So the Jays lineup, which is pretty righty heavy, is gonna be a nice matchup for him as he works slider, sinker, and a fastball in there around 92 as his biggest pitches.
As this is quite the at-bat here. Jansen now 8 pitches in, and not letting Sims get away with anything easy here. Here's the full count offering. And that one's driven into center field. Aquino will get underneath it and make the catch. 2 away now as Sims records the first out of his appearance today.
And so next there'll be Brandon Drury. He's looked really good so far in this young season. He's had every opportunity. I believe him and Bichette, him and Bichette are the only 2 Jays to have appeared in every game so far, not getting a day off because the manager Charlie Montoya wants to keep giving them every at-bat they can. Bichette because they want him to turn it around, and Drury because they want him to keep it going. He's looked great.
And he drills that one down towards first base. Votto with an excellent play. Fields and taps the base, but Travis Shaw delivers a 2-run shot. His first with the Blue Jays, the 100th of his career, to make this one a 2-0 game as we head to the 7th inning in Toronto. Welcome back as the first baseman, hitting number 3 in the lineup as usual for the Reds, Joey Votto, the Canadian, steps in and he's 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts on the day. He's 5 for 17 to start this young season. As Hyun-Jin Ryu now up to 89 pitches, but he's through 6 innings. He's retired his last 15 he's faced. What do you do here if you're Montoyo? Just let him go?
Well, no signs of fatigue thus far. If he starts missing his spots or maybe Montoyo sees something else in his mechanics he doesn't like, he can afford to take him out anytime now. There's lots of arms fresh in the pen for the Jays. You see there's 2 of them right there. Anthony Bass picked up his first save on Sunday, and Thomas Pannone, who's worked a couple times now, threw a nice clean inning against the Red Sox earlier and pitched another appearance nicely last night.
As Votto drills that one down over into left field, but Drury ranges back and makes the play, and the leadoff hitter is retired.
Now batting, the third baseman, Eugenio.
Well, 3 outs now for Votto in all 3 plate appearances, so that's a big bat for Ryu to be able to neutralize in the middle of the order. Lefty on lefty, the matchup looks nice for Ryu, but for someone that needs to live around the outsides of the zone, it's tough to get Votto, who has such a great eye. So the fact he's been able to neutralize him completely and keep him off the base paths is one of the reasons for his success so far.
And a 1-1 count out to Eugenio Suarez, who's also 0 for 2 on the day. Another bat that so far has been neutralized, as you mentioned, with Votto as well. And in the last inning that Ryu pitched, he got 3 up, 3 down, all on strikeouts. So, he's got the stuff rolling in this one, obviously working well with Reese McGuire. And it's a 2-2 count.
Suarez, of course, seen Ryu quite a few times with the Dodgers, and he matches up nicely against them. Suarez hits lefties a whole lot better than he hits righties, especially when it comes to his power numbers. So now he can't tie the game with a big hit, but he can certainly do some damage and fix that 0 on the board for the Reds here as they look for a breakthrough offensively.
Full count pitch right down the middle. That's another strikeout as Suarez takes that one looking.
That's that exact same fastball that struck out both Kurt Casale and Freddie Galvis outside half of the plate, right on the edge, middle, just above the belt height, and Suarez goes down looking just as the other 2 did. Nicely spotted by Ryu.
As Moustakas on that first pitch offering drills a shot into left, he'll head to first on a 2-out single.
Moustakas looking good, and he's doing quite well now against Ryu. That'll make him 3 for 8 with a couple walks. Both of them spent lots of time in the National League, of course, with the Brewers for Moustakas, and as we just mentioned, with the Dodgers for Ryu. So now a hit there will be the first hit he surrendered since the very first inning. A great stretch there from Hyun-Jin Ryu, though.
8 strikeouts on the day for Ryu after his 100th pitch has just been thrown to Freddie Galvis. A first pitch ball of this at-bat. And here's the 1-0. That one's taken on the inside part of the plate. Evens up the count at 1. But what we're noticing in terms of the sequencing from Ryu, and that on that pitch that is freezing the runners, that goes right up the middle, getting a lot of strikeouts, he's throwing a lot, low and inside, getting the hitter to focus there. And then for the strikeout pitch, just throws a heater right up the middle.
He's been setting up his pitches mostly east-west tonight as opposed to north-south, where, as you mentioned, working in, working out, and great balance.
As Galvis sprays that one over into right field, it drops right in front of Alford. Now first and second, 2 away, as Ryu running into a little bit of trouble here.
Well, as Ryu passes the century mark with over 100 pitches thrown now, 2 runners on for the Reds. First time they've had that in the same inning all game, and it'll be on the 7-8-9 to try and do some damage here as Phil Irvin's due up.
And we'll see if Ryu stays on this one. Doesn't look like he will. Doesn't look too happy with being pulled either, but Charlie Montoyo will yank him out of this one after he allows back-to-back singles with 2 out here in the 7th. So 6 2/3 innings pitched for Ryu, and he looked excellent today. And as I'm sure we'll get to that a bit later. But for now, Justin Miller will come into the game. And in his first appearance this season, he got rocked.
He made his Blue Jays debut on the weekend, where he came in to finish off the game in the ninth, inheriting a 5-run lead to face the bottom of the order, gave up a loud double and a home run, and got yanked after only getting 2 outs. So a tough start for his Blue Jays career, but he'll have a big chance to bounce back here with 2 on and 2 out.
And that was in Game 3 of that Red Sox series, in which Ken Giles had to come in just to get 1 out to bail out the Jays, as Miller, a bit of a rally was started the ninth against him, as he went in trying to close things out, but was unable to do so. Let's see if he can get the final out of this inning and navigate out of some trouble against Phil Irvin, who's 0 for 2 on the day. First pitch in there for a strike. And for Miller, coming over obviously from Washington, he's moved around a little bit in his career, but an opportunity for him here to really possibly make some hay and show what he's got in this bullpen that has lacked depth. And as Irvin drills that one into left field, and it'll get down in front of Gurriel, but he throws it back in quickly to keep the lead runner at third. Now bases loaded, 2 away.
Well, now something's really brewing here for the Reds. Another single moves everyone up 1 base, and bases are now loaded, as it's going to be Aquino now, not your typical 8-hitter, because he can do some real damage real fast. Now with the bases loaded and 2 outs, it'll be a huge at-bat for Justin Miller as he tries to bounce back and put his season back on the right track after you mentioned major struggles in his first appearance.
And with the Jays up 2-0, this is a massive out to get. The last thing you want is Cincinnati to get some runs on the board, especially this late in the ball game, as Aquino 0 for 2 on the day. Swings and misses on that first low pitch offering, and McGuire encouraging him to keep that up.
2 very different sides for Aquino last season. In August, he batted .320 with 14 home runs. Then September and October, it was .196 with 5 home runs and just about the same plate appearance numbers. So pitchers discovered some holes in his swing as the season went on, but he showed flashes of absolute domination with a phenomenal month of August.
In an 0-2 count now, trying to keep this inning alive. Oh, and he swings and misses on that slider offering from Miller, a strikeout when he needed it. And the Blue Jays get out of the 7th inning without allowing a run despite the bases being loaded as we stretch now in Toronto. And welcome back to the Rogers Center Virtual Jays Network. My name is Jackson Farough. I am joined in the broadcast booth by Drew Frank. And now Robert Stevenson coming into the game now. So the Reds really get into their bullpen as we hit the bottom of the 7th inning. Reese McGuire 0 for 2 on the day. He'll try to get things started for the Blue Jays.
Stevenson relieves Sims, who got the 2 batters he faced out. Sims did a nice job coming in and dealing with the situation he was dealt in front of him and eliminated the only 2 batters he faced.
And that one's inside there, and even up the count at 1. And, for Reese McGuire, leading off the inning here, he led off the 5th as well. He's flown out to center in his first 2 plate appearances, but you really want to get that bat going because, the way Danny Jansen's been going, it's looking like Reese McGuire is number 2 in the depth chart at catcher right now.
Well, that was the expectation coming into the season, that he would be backing him up as he swings through that one and misses the breaking ball there. But Jansen was thinking it might be more of a 50-50 or a 60-40, but Jansen could get significantly more time if his bat keeps up how it is now. And even tonight, where McGuire's getting the catching duties, that's not keeping Jansen out of the lineup, as Montoyo's got him in there DHing just to try and keep that hot bat hitting.
Well, and there's lots of positional battles. I mean, guy at the plate right now is arguably in a positional battle as well. I mean, playing second, we know Joe Panik is excellent defensively. He got a triple in the 5th inning off of a Phil Irvin mistake in the field. But there's a little bit of a battle potentially between Panik and Biggio at second, especially if Panik can keep up this solid hitting, and we know how great he is defensively.
Yeah, more of a known quantity than some of the other guys in the organization. Panik has been consistent through almost his entire career with a very disciplined plate approach and some nice skills in the field to have a very well-rounded presence there at second base.
Spent some time with the Mets last season, but primarily his career was with the Giants, where he was in all of those big playoff games. He's played in some massive moments, let's be honest, and he brings all that experience now up north of the border to a young Toronto team. And the Jays, I think it was a really savvy move in the offseason to pick him up. I believe they got him on a minor league deal. So, taking a flyer on a guy who's going to be able to deliver you some solid defense, some experience, and some hitting as he's in a 1-2 count as he fouls that one off past the third base line. See what he can do here against Stevenson. That 1-2 pitch is drilled into deep right center. Aquino jogging over and makes the play very nonchalantly there. 2 away now.
2 quick outs as Stevenson features a pretty similar profile to what we just saw from Lucas Sims on the mound. A slider-heavy right-handed reliever. He'll throw a fastball in there, and he'll throw a changeup sometimes. He doesn't use that one quite as often. He mostly lives off of the slider and complements it with the fastball.
And now here's Anthony Alford, who will look to solve Stevenson here. He's 0 for 2 in the day, and in his last plate appearance, Drew, in the 5th inning, Joe Panik was at third. There was just 1 out, and Alford wasn't able to take advantage as he swung out, or as he struck out. But now he drills that one into deep left field. That one is past Castellanos off the wall. Alford will run to second, and he's got himself a 2-out double.
Some nice pop in that swing. Goes down and gets that low pitch and lifts it all the way over the left fielder's head as Castellanos has no play on that ball. Bounces 1 hop up against the wall, and Alford, with all the speed he's got, is very easily into second base standing up. And now as the lineup turns over, there will be a runner in scoring position as Bo Bichette looks to finally make some noise this season.
And that's exactly what you want from your number 9 hitter. Setting the table now for Bo Bichette at the top of the lineup as Alford is in scoring position. Bichette takes a first pitch ball. And, for Alford, I think that's exactly his potential, right? Being able to rip some balls, with his power. He's got that raw skill and power. It's just a matter of him being able to harness it. But now 1 for 3 on the day as Bo Bichette is 0 for 3 on the day, but he's in a nice hitter's count now. 2-0.
With Alford's speed on second, if Bichette gets this one anywhere towards the outfield, Alford should be able to score off and running with 2 outs.
And swings and misses on that corner pitch there. Stevenson really painting the corner. Bichette swings right over it. 2-1 count. Stevenson looking to even things up here. And he deals. That one is low, misses inside.
A nice take for Bichette, working his way ahead in the count. Now just 1 pitch away from receiving the walk, which, based on all the swing and misses he's had so far this season, a walk would be a nice change of pace.
3-1 count out of Bichette. He drills that one past the first base line, so it'll be a full count as he fouls that one off.
A guy like Bichette's going to get every opportunity here. Still in the leadoff spot, the struggles aren't going to prevent Montoyo from seeing what he's got in Bichette with his highly touted prospect status.
And let's see if he can deliver a base hit, potentially an RBI here. As you mentioned, Drew Alford with a ton of speed at second should be able to score on pretty much any hit to the outfield. Here's the full count pitch. That one is fouled right off the plate. Quite a battle now. Oh, never mind. Quite a battle now for Bichette and Stevenson. And it's a full count pitch. That high fastball swung and missed on there from Bichette. He's 0 for 4 on the day. Strands Alford at second. Remains a 2-0 game as we head to the 8th inning on the virtual Jays Network. And welcome back to the Rogers Center. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank calling this one, and it's a great ball game for you. In the second game of this 3-game interleague series between the Reds and the Blue Jays. Anthony Bass comes in now as a setup man to try to get the 9-1-2 hitters out as the Blue Jays try to retain this 2-0 lead.
Well, Montoyo said out of the camp that Bass was going to be a setup man for Giles, and Bass's first appearance, he only faced 2 batters and struck them both out. His last appearance, he picked up his first save with the Jays as he got a 4-out save on Sunday to seal the deal in the Boston series. He had to come out and save the game because Giles was used in all 3 of the first games, and now he's hoping that Bass can bridge to the 9th here and maintain the lead so that Giles can be used here in this game too.
As Casali flies that one out over into right field, Alford gets underneath it and makes the easy play to get the leadoff out, or the leadoff hitter out. Casali struck out in his first 2 plate appearances, and now he's 0 for 3 on the day.
So now Castellanos, we mentioned yesterday, did a great job of getting things going at the top of the order with a pair of extra bases when he came up with the bases empty. Once to start the game and once to start the 8th inning, comes up, bases empty here. The Reds only 5 outs left to try and turn this game around and put up some runs to at least take this one to extras. And Castellanos now, how this at-bat goes, could go a long way in deciding that outcome.
His 4th plate appearance, he's 0 for 3 on the day. The strikeout, a groundout, and a flyout. He's got a little bit of everything as he chops that one over into the first base corner area. 0-2 count to Castellanos, who is kind of a manager's dream, isn't he? He can hit for power, he can hit for contact, he can run, he can play multiple defensive positions, but he strikes out swinging there. Bass delivering a nice outside pitch.
Struck out in his last at-bat against Ryu, where he expanded the zone as well. Here he chases a breaking ball. Bass can really strike out some batters. That's one of his best skill sets, the ability to generate those swings and misses with the combination of the heat and that breaking ball that you saw right there.
Bass with an excellent outing so far, and he continues that with a first pitch strike to Nick Senzel, a highly rated prospect for the Cincinnati Reds. He's 1 for 3 on the day after doubling in the first, and make that 1 for 3 on the season.
And if the Reds want to go for it, they've got all sorts of lefty bats on the bench. We saw Jesse Winker yesterday. Lots of pop against righties. There's a few other guys in there. Mark Payton's another. They set up their lineup to face the lefty Ryu, but there's lots of weapons on the bench if they choose to go there to face either Bass or the righty that'll follow him next inning in Ken Giles.
Senzel struck out in the 6th. Let's see if he meets the similar fate here. No, instead he'll ground out over to short. Bichette is there to make the play. And the 3 up, 3 down for Anthony Bass in the 8th inning here. Good outing there as we head to the bottom of the 8th. And the Jays trying to tack on some insurance.
Your attention, please.
And we see another bullpen arm coming to the game now for the Cincinnati Reds in the form of Matt Bowman. It'll be his first appearance of the season. He'll take on the number 2 hitter playing left field, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who got a single in the 3rd.
Gurriel, that single, a nice way for him to hopefully try and get his season on track here. Not so hot out of the gate. We mentioned last year he was really doing well. He strung together a whole bunch of extra base hits he tallied, I believe, double-digit consecutive games with extra base hits, and a late season injury derailed that, but back here in 2020, healthy and ready to go.
He's in a nice hitter's count now, 2-0, as Matt Bowman's second offering there misses inside. And Gurriel Jr. trying to get something going as the leadoff hitter for the Jays in this inning. And we talked about earlier Gurriel being a guy who's trying to establish himself. There's a battle in the outfield, but he's also a pretty versatile player, isn't he?
We saw him play some middle infield last year, and there's no one really to back up Bichette at shortstop on this team. Santiago Espinal in AAA almost made the team out of camp. He had a really nice spring where he got all sorts of opportunity, but he's in AAA, and it's either going to be Gurriel or Drury that'll split some time at shortstop because Bo Bichette in his sophomore season won't be out there all 162 games.
And Gurriel takes a leadoff walk off of 4 straight balls, and now Randall Grichuk, man, he's had quite the day. He's 3 for 3 on the day, 2 doubles and a single, and he's been able to hit the ball to both ends of the ballpark. He's been hitting, basically all three of his hits have been right down the line. 2 down the first base line for doubles, and then his third hit, a single, just past the third baseman. So he's looked great, but now in an 0-2 count.
And that first double was really stunk, got all the way down into the corner. Hit that ball nicely, squared it up on the outer half of the plate, stayed with it, and took it to the opposite field.
Good chance for the Jays to add some extra runs for their closer, but instead Grichuk will strike out on 3 pitches. So he'll be 3 for 4 on the day.
Nice day for Grichuk, of course. 5 total bases, the 2 doubles to start things off. Neither time being able to get cashed in by his teammates, but the single that he had in his last at-bat set up the Shaw home run, and Grichuk scores one of the 2 runs for the Jays here tonight.
Couple extra base hits and a strikeout. That's the classic Randall Grichuk type game. Travis Shaw, who hit a 2-run bomb in the 6th to put us where we are at a 2-0 ball game. The only runs scored in this one, and he's played excellent defense at first as well, and takes that pitch. It's ball number 1, a 1-1 count now.
Who would be your pick for an early candidate of player of the game? Would you go Grichuk, 3 for 4, or Shaw with the big home run?
Can I pick Ryu?
Yeah, right-in option.
So after that strikeout, I'd probably go Ryu, the way he was able to calm down after the first couple innings and really get dialed in, especially with no run support.
A very solid outing for Ryu. We saw the strikeouts today that we didn't quite see against Boston. Got a few looking, got a few swinging, really dominant there, especially in those middle inning stretch where he didn't even allow a base runner for multiple innings.
And 3-1 count to Shaw, and he flies out. Looks like it'll be towards center. It is. Aquino there. Makes the play. And it'll be 2 away now from Matt Bowman. Still a runner on first.
That's Shaw's 3rd flyout to Aquino today. His first 2 both ended up there, and now this one ends up in his glove as well. But it's the at-bat that wasn't caught by him that matters the most. The home run that was an absolute missile to right field. Not too much of a fly ball. That was almost more of a line drive. It seemed like it was still rising as it left the park.
And now Danny Jansen, 0 for 3, steps in, takes a first pitch strike from Matt Bowman. This is his 14th pitch of the outing, and that was an aggressive swing, a very powerful swing, and it's fouled off over to the first base side. So you asked me who my pick for player of the game is. Who is yours, Drew?
I think in a 2-0 game, you've got to look at what Shaw's done when it mattered. The big thing with the Jays, the storyline, stranding 14 runners yesterday, the fact that Shaw was able to convert and drive in a run and break that 9 innings of scoreless baseball yesterday and break the 5 innings of scoreless baseball to start today's game, generate some offense, and that was what the Jays needed tonight.
They sure did, especially, with the lack of extra runs. But Jansen strikes out there. So 0 for 4 on the day for him as we head to the 9th in Toronto.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And welcome back to Toronto here. It's a 2-0 ball game on the Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank calling this one. And Ken Giles comes in for his 4th appearance of the season. He's going for a save, but he's got the 3-4-5 hitters coming up, the meat of the order, and it's Joey Votto, Eugenio Suarez, and Mike Moustakas, 3 extremely good power hitters.
And all 3 of them have the ability to do some damage. So Giles very much going to be tested here as he comes in looking for his 4th save already in this young season.
And Giles has looked magnificent so far. His velocity is up. His command has been excellent. He's looked calm and collected. He is such a pro out there on the mound, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been around the league enough to know what he has to do here by throwing strikes and generating those swings and misses by changing speeds with the fastball he throws and the slider he complements it with.
Yeah, and that's one thing about Ken Giles as your closer. He's not really scared of anyone at this point in his career. Joey Votto, the Canadian, in his 2nd game here in Toronto, trying to, maybe give his friends and family something to cheer about. It's been a pretty quiet day for him. And that one's hit right back up the middle. Joey Votto with a leadoff single off Ken Giles to start things off here in the ninth.
Votto coming into this game was 2 for 2 against Giles and a pretty small sample size, but now brings that up to 3 for 3 as he reaches by slicing that one right back up the middle.
An excellent job by Votto there, being able to read it and just, not get fooled by any of the sequencing that Giles is normally doing, and just an excellent base hit. As Eugenio Suarez now with the table set for him, a runner on first. Now he's 0 for 3 on the day. He struck out in the 7th, but he's had a good start to the season. We know the kind of power he has, so quite the battle at the plate now as fans get up at the Rogers Center. Here's the 1-0, and that one misses outside. It's a hitter's count for Suarez here with a runner on and none out.
And with the runner on, he represents the tying run now in just a 2-0 game.
And let's see what he can do here. Here's the 2-0 offering. That one swung and missed there. Excellent off-speed pitch. Pulling the string on Suarez.
Suarez ready to attack a fastball. He got the bat through the zone quickly, but too quickly as Giles mixes it up with the slider.
Here's the 2-1 offering from Giles. Another swing and a miss on that outside offering. All of a sudden, this count was evened up at 2. And let's see what Giles has in store. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Inside pitch there, fouled off. The count will remain 2-2.
Suarez so far in this series 0 for 7 with a couple strikeouts. Now's a chance he can turn that whole narrative around though with a big hit.
49 home runs last season, but he won't get one there as he strikes out swinging one away now. Giles' first strikeout of the inning.
Nice work by Giles to keep pounding that outside corner. Had him miss on a slider there earlier in that bat for the second strike. Gets the third strike with a very similar pitch just outside the zone, far enough away that Suarez can't really do much damage with it. Even if he were to square it up, wouldn't be able to hit that one for extra bases because of how far off the plate it was. And when you're 1-2 ahead in the count as a pitcher, you don't have to come to him, and that's a great spot for your slider.
And the last thing you want to do is allow Suarez to get on, because then you would have 2 on, none out from this guy, Mike Moustakas. He has a good matchup here, a left-handed hitter on a right-handed pitcher, and he's got some serious power. He had 30-plus home runs last season, and he's consistently been able to jack them, especially in a ballpark like this, a bit of a smaller one. He's 1 for 2 on the day.
Just 2 career at-bats against Giles, but one of them left the yard. He's got a home run and just, as I mentioned, the 2 plate appearances against Giles. So he's seen him well in the past, and if he were to do that here, it would tie this ball game up.
And let's see what he's got in store for us. The number 5 hitter playing second base. Once again for the Reds, he drills that one into deep center field. But Grichuk looks like he has read on it. He sure does. And 2 away now. The Reds are down to their final out.
That ball was timed up nicely by Moustakas. Grichuk didn't even really have to move at all, playing straight away center field. That one was hit right back up the middle, right to Grichuk, and now just 1 out of the way, it'll be Freddie Galvis, Giles' former teammate on the Blue Jays last year, who will stand between him and his 4th save of the season.
And let's see if Giles can deliver and pick up the save. A first pitch swung and missed there from Freddie Galvis, who's 1 for 3. He had a single in the 7th inning. So an 0-1 count. Giles trying to get ahead here. And it's an 0-2 count as Galvis fouls that one off. The Reds are down to their final strike with Votto at first base. And the tying run at the plate. Fans are up on their feet now. 2 strikes. Let's see if Giles can deliver a third. He's into the windup and he deals. And that one is flown out to deep right field. Alford giving chase. Looks like he'll get underneath it at the warning track, and he does. Ken Giles with the 17-pitch save. Hyun-Jin Ryu picks up the win, and the Blue Jays win the second game of this 3-game set, 2-0.
Bit of a scare there as Galvis squared that one up nicely, but Giles gets out of it, allows just the single to Votto, and the Jays continue to roll. After taking 4 games against Boston, they pick up another win here tonight, and they're looking very strong here to start this 2020 campaign.
Yeah, Hyun-Jin Ryu with another good outing today in his second start with the Jays. And after dropping the first game of this series yesterday, the Blue Jays come back and display great pitching, just allowing 5 hits. And, right from Ryu, Miller gets the out he needs, right, in the 7th. And then Bass in the setup role does exactly what he needs to do, 3 up, 3 down. And Ken Giles comes in here, and after allowing a leadoff single, gets the 3 outs he needs. So great pitching. The bullpen doing a good job today as well.
Yeah, and really the whole game came down to the 1 home run from Shaw, because the 2 runs in the 2-0 game, the Reds bullpen also did a phenomenal job. Mahle, as we mentioned, came into this game as an underdog against Ryu, but he matched him all the way through his start, charged for both runs, but man, he did quite well. The bullpen in relief of him also did quite well, and a very nice low-scoring game here from Looney Dog Night in Toronto.
Yes, of course, some cheap hot dogs and a win. So Blue Jays fans very happy with that one, and they got to see their ace Hyun-Jin Ryu. His final line, 6 2/3, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, 0 earned, and just 1 walk. What was working for Ryu today?
It was mostly based on his ability to work east and west, as we mentioned. The slider was really working for him tonight, but it was all about his fastball, because the slider can't set up itself. It was his use of his fastball, spotting the corners, working on the edges, that was really able to establish itself. We saw 3 strikeouts looking from very talented and experienced hitters, because Ryu was able to just paint that fastball, and it was working for him all night long.
So the Cincinnati Reds fall to 3-2. The Jays improve to a 5-1 record to start out this season. And Randall Grichuk, a great day for him at the plate as well. Even Anthony Alford being able to get his first hit of the season. So Tyler Mahle picks up the loss. Ken Giles picks up the save. And the Blue Jays will look to win this series tomorrow in the rubber match. A 4 p.m. start between Trevor Bauer and Matt Shoemaker. An excellent pitching matchup there tomorrow as well. And that'll be it for us today on the Virtual Jays Network. For Jackson Farough and Drew Frank, we thank you very much for joining us today for another Blue Jays win as they look to go 6-1 to start out this season tomorrow as the final game of this interleague series. Thank you for watching, everyone, and have a great evening.